Size matters or more the way you use it. As a woman, I always believed that size matters when it comes to sexual satisfaction. This belief stemmed from my very first sexual experience with my ex-husband, whom I met when I was just 18 years old. He was the first man I ever had sex with, and his impressive 8-inch sausage set the bar high for my future expectations. Over the years, as my ex-husband and I explored the swinging lifestyle and engaged in threesomes, I found myself consistently disappointed whenever I encountered a man with a sausage smaller than 7 inches. It seemed that no matter how hard they tried, the sex was just okay at best, and I rarely found myself reaching the heights of pleasure I craved. This disappointment became a recurring theme throughout my decade-long journey in the lifestyle. I couldn't help but feel that my sexual fulfillment was intrinsically linked to the size of my partner's sausage. The bigger the better, or so I thought. This belief was so ingrained in my mind that it began to affect the way I approached potential partners and the level of excitement I felt going into new sexual experiences. Looking back, I realized that my fixation on size limited my ability to fully enjoy and appreciate the diverse range of sexual encounters I could have had. I was so focused on this one physical attribute that I often overlooked other important factors, such as emotional connection, chemistry, and technique. As I continued to navigate the swinging lifestyle with this mindset, I found myself growing increasingly frustrated with my own narrow-mindedness. I wanted to break free from this limiting belief and open myself up to new possibilities, but I didn't quite know how to go about it. Little did I know that a chance encounter with a new couple would soon challenge everything I thought I knew about the importance of sausage size in sexual satisfaction. 2 months ago, I met a woman who I connected with on so many levels. Our friendship blossomed quickly, and we found ourselves sharing intimate details about our lives and our sexual experiences. The more time we spent together, the more I realized how much I enjoyed her company, both in and out of the bedroom. One day, she opened up to me about her desire for me to join her and her husband in a threesome. I was thrilled at the prospect of taking our connection to the next level, but my excitement was short-lived when she revealed that her husband's sausage was only 4 inches long. I felt a wave of disappointment wash over me, followed closely by a surge of anger. How could she expect me to enjoy myself with a man who was so far below my usual size preference? I had grown so accustomed to my 7-inch minimum that the thought of being with someone with a significantly smaller sausage felt like a waste of time. Despite my reservations, I couldn't ignore the strong bond I had formed with this woman. She had become such an important part of my life, and I didn't want to risk losing her friendship over something as superficial as sausage size. I found myself torn between my long-held beliefs and my desire to maintain our connection. As I grappled with this internal conflict, my friend continued to insist that I give her husband a chance. She assured me that he was an incredible lover and that size wasn't everything when it came to sexual satisfaction. I wanted to believe her, but my past experiences had left me skeptical. In the end, my affection for this woman won out over my doubts. I decided to take a leap of faith and accept their invitation, despite my lingering apprehension about her husband's size. I told myself that even if the sex wasn't mind-blowing, at least I would be strengthening my bond with a dear friend. Little did I know that this decision would lead me to question everything I thought I knew about the importance of sausage size in the bedroom. As I prepared myself for what I assumed would be a lackluster sexual experience, I had no idea that I was about to embark on a journey of self-discovery that would change my perspective forever. With a mix of nervousness and anticipation, I found myself in the bedroom with my friend and her husband. As we began to undress and explore each other's bodies, I couldn't help but feel a sense of apprehension. I kept telling myself not to get my hopes up, that I couldn't expect much from a man with a 4-inch sausage. But as we started to engage in foreplay, something unexpected happened. My friend's husband seemed to possess a level of skill and attentiveness that I had rarely encountered before. He took his time, focusing on my pleasure and ensuring that I was fully aroused before even thinking about penetration. When the moment finally came for him to enter me, I braced myself for disappointment. However, what I experienced was anything but disappointing. Despite his smaller size, he seemed to know exactly how to angle his body and thrust in a way that hit all the right spots. I found myself getting lost in the sensation, my concerns about size melting away with each passing minute. As our encounter progressed, I was shocked to find myself on the brink of climax, not just once, but twice. In the span of a single hour, this man with a 4-inch sausage had managed to bring me to heights of pleasure that I had previously thought were only possible with larger partners. I couldn't believe what was happening. Here I was, experiencing one of the most satisfying sexual encounters of my life, and it was with a man whose sausage size I had initially written off as inadequate. The more I surrendered to the moment and focused on the sensations rather than my preconceived notions, the more intense my pleasure became. As I lay there in the afterglow, trying to catch my breath and process what had just occurred, I realized that my entire worldview had been shaken. This one experience had challenged everything I thought I knew about the importance of sausage size in sexual satisfaction. I began to question all the assumptions I had made over the years, all the partners I had dismissed based on this one physical attribute. How many incredible sexual experiences had I potentially missed out on because of my narrow-mindedness? The thought was both humbling and eye-opening. In the days that followed my mind-blowing encounter with my friend and her husband, I found myself reflecting deeply on the importance of sausage size and sexual skill. I couldn't shake the realization that I had been so wrong for so long, and I was determined to understand how this experience had changed my perspective. As I thought back on my past sexual encounters, I began to see them in a new light. I realized that some of the most memorable and satisfying experiences I'd had were not necessarily with partners who had the largest sausages, but rather with those who possessed a keen understanding of my body and a willingness to prioritize my pleasure. I started to understand that while size certainly played a role in sexual satisfaction, it was far from the only factor that mattered. Technique, attentiveness, and a genuine desire to please one's partner were equally, if not more, important in creating a truly fulfilling sexual experience. This realization led me to approach my subsequent sexual encounters with a newfound openness and curiosity. Instead of immediately writing off potential partners based on their sausage size, I found myself focusing more on the connection we shared and the effort they put into our time together. As I embraced this new perspective, I discovered a whole new world of sexual possibilities opening up before me. I no longer felt limited by my previous size-centric beliefs, and I was able to experience a greater range of pleasure and intimacy with partners of all shapes and sizes. Of course, this shift in mindset didn't happen overnight. There were times when I caught myself slipping back into old patterns of thinking, placing too much emphasis on size over other important factors. But each time I reminded myself of that transformative experience with my friend's husband, and I recommitted myself to prioritizing skill, connection, and mutual satisfaction in my sexual encounters. Looking back, I am grateful for that mind-blowing experience, not just for the incredible pleasure it brought me in the moment, but for the lasting impact it had on my approach to sex and relationships. It taught me the importance of keeping an open mind, of being willing to challenge my own assumptions and explore new possibilities. As I reflect on my journey from a size-obsessed swinger to a more open-minded and sexually liberated woman, I can't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the lessons I've learned along the way. That pivotal encounter with my friend's 4-inch endowed husband was the catalyst I needed to question my long-held beliefs and embrace a more nuanced understanding of sexual satisfaction. I now realize that my fixation on sausage size was not only limiting my own sexual experiences, but also perpetuating a narrow-minded and ultimately harmful stereotype. By placing so much emphasis on this one physical attribute, I was not only doing a disservice to myself but also to my partners, who deserve to be appreciated and valued for more than just the size of their genitalia. Through this experience, I have learned that true sexual fulfillment comes from a combination of factors, including emotional connection, communication, and a willingness to prioritize mutual pleasure. While size may play a role in certain sexual acts or positions, it is far from the be-all and end-all of a satisfying sexual encounter. I have also come to understand the importance of keeping an open mind and being willing to challenge my own preconceptions. Had I not taken that leap of faith and accepted my friend's invitation to join her and her husband, I may have never experienced the mind-blowing pleasure that ultimately transformed my perspective. As I continue to navigate the world of sex and relationships, I now approach each new encounter with a sense of curiosity and a commitment to prioritizing skill, connection, and mutual satisfaction over arbitrary physical standards. I have learned to value my partners for the unique individuals they are, and to appreciate the diverse range of experiences and talents they bring to the bedroom. My hope in sharing this story is that it may inspire others to question their own assumptions about sexual satisfaction, and to approach their encounters with a more open and compassionate mindset. Whether you are a seasoned swinger or a curious newcomer to the world of sexual exploration, remember that true fulfillment comes from within, and that the most mind-blowing experiences often arise when we least expect them. So go forth, my fellow sexual adventurers, and embrace the power of connection, communication, and mutual pleasure. You never know what kind of transformative experiences await you when you keep an open mind and an open heart.